Hey y'all, it's Day. So, I'm going to be doing a reading today. Very much looking forward to this message. If you are wanting a private reading, you can book a private reading through the link, which will be in the comment section below. If you'd like to learn more about my readings, if you'd like to contribute to my readings by visiting my Amazon wish list, my Etsy wish list as well. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I do want to thank my angels, guides, ancestors, God source, and benevolent energies that stand in truth and love. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the guidance. Thank you for the protection. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So the first thing that's coming up very clearly is there is a reference to like there is a want or a desire to have a connection with the father, or to have some type of parental figure or guardian figure that someone can feel close to, whoever this reading is for. I do see that something that was or is important to them, for them to have a relationship with a fatherly figure. It does feel like that is something that has not been experienced, or if they did have, some form of relationship with a father figure, that it wasn't the best, or it's not what they wanted or desired or needed as a child. On the far left of the spread, we have the Four of Wands, and we have the Ten of Wands in reverse. And I'm hearing the word obedience. There is a reference to there being some kind of imbalance, that whoever this reading is for, they feel some kind of imbalance or insecurity regarding how they navigate life, or where within themselves their personal authority lies, because it may have not been mirrored to them, or they just was not able to build this connection with this masculine energy or this fatherly figure. So someone really feels like they really needed, um, that someone strong to look up to confide in, to collaborate with, to kind of show them the way. And because they didn't have that, or didn't experience that, or the experience that they had was unhealthy or didn't satisfy their needs as a child, something about that affects their sense of security within themselves, and it affects their confidence in moving forward, or exercising their authority. And that is somehow tied to the root chakra and their sense of stability, their sense of self. There is a reference to someone looking at someone that they may have wanted to experience this relationship with. So whether it was just like a male or a masculine energy in their environment, or it was indeed their father or a stepfather, or some kind of authority figure, it's like they wanted to have this relationship, but it almost seems like that other person was occupied or focused on something else, So it feels like they were not able to maintain their focus. I mean, not able to maintain their attention. Like they weren't important to enough. So I see this person looking at this fatherly figure and wanting some of their attention, but just feeling like their attention is unattainable because they are occupied with something else, like work or whatever they were working on or doing. And then I'm hearing wanting to be a part of their world. Someone's father figure may have been like very detached or very occupied with something else, like showing little to no interest in them, in bonding with them and spending time with them, um, or like just giving them advice. I'm saying whoever this reading is for, they actually wanted, that person to spend time with them, to give them advice, to show them how to do things, and they just feel like that is an aspect of their life that they unfortunately did not get to experience. And it kind of just feels like, well, damn, like I didn't even get to, that's just a part of my life that just didn't happen. We also have the Hermit card coming out in reverse towards the bottom or the middle of the spread, middle left of the spread. Um, with that, there is this energy of like this person, whoever this reading is for, has been a hermit. They've spent a lot of time alone, not by choice, but more so neglect in regards to this specific relationship. It feels like overall they may have not had like a lot of attention focused on them or given towards them. So they've kind of had to find ways to occupy themselves, or they had to get creative with how to entertain themselves. They had to learn how to busy themselves. But that is not naturally what they wanted. They just happen to always find themselves alone. And it's like they get along, but there is an aspect of the self that feels very, very much not nurtured. Towards the middle of the spread, we have the Nine of Coins, and this is coming out directly underneath the Six of Baskets and the Four of Coins, where we acknowledge that whoever this reading is for, they wanted to have a bond with an authority figure or a fatherly figure. However, that did not happen. I am still getting messages of like apathy or just like not being interested from that person. But directly underneath that, we have the Nine of Coins. So there is a message of like knowing your worth, being aware of how important you really are and that you do have value despite this very complex life challenge that whoever this reading is for has experienced, where someone that they needed to survive or someone that is responsible for them being here is not showing interest, and how that can translate to the child, to the person, that they are not valuable. However, it's coming through very clearly that is not true. That's not the case, that you have so much to offer, and that someone's inability to see that or to value that or to allow their actions um, to communicate that that is true doesn't mean that you don't have value. It's very interesting with the Nine of Coins here. I see someone that has a lot to offer. I feel like this person has a lot of great qualities and great interest and talent and ability to execute whatever that looks like for them, to create an abundant life for themselves, or a very creative and expressive life, or just a lively life for themselves. And it's giving me this energy of like the father figure, the authority figure, or masculine that they originally, wanted this nurturance from or an attention from. It's kind of like I'm seeing them maybe being in a position to realize all the special things about you later. And I'm also getting this revelatory type of feeling of a father figure not realizing all of your interests and later seeing you execute them. So, for example, someone's like creative and then they start a business, or they just become an icon, or like people know them, they have a following or something like that. And that father figure like realizing like, oh, your son does this, they do X, Y, and Z, and they're successful and they're creative. And there is this realization of like, dang, I didn't even know that. And it's also interesting to see this person do what they do, because they're also going to get to the point where they realize that they didn't contribute anything to it. They may have contributed maybe to the household financially, which of course that's always important as well. But in regards to this reading, as I'm inquiring on the energy, for whoever this reading is for, I see that it was very important to them, more specifically, like the guidance, the emotional presence, the advice that could have been given, the conversations that could have been had, taking interest in their interests, doing activities with them. That's what was important to them specifically. So that is coming up here. Let me turn everything down. Okay. So below this Nine of Cups, where spiritual team is acknowledging this person's high quality, high value characteristics that they have, and acknowledging like who they have become despite this lack that they've experienced in their life. Underneath that, we have the Two of Swords and the Six of Coins. Oh, for some reason I'm hearing panhandling. I am seeing that whoever this reading is for, they have found ways to navigate life without the reassurance and the encouragement and the foresight of this fatherly figure, authority figure, or masculine. That they've kind of like learned how to navigate life even without them. It's not always the most effective or conventional ways, but this person has basically learned how to survive, how to trade, how to get money, how to, get things done. And it may be a little dysfunctional, or maybe very creative, like outside the box, just because they didn't really know, you know, the way to go about it, because they didn't have someone older to really share that knowledge with them. But there is a reference to their ability to be creative and how they use that creativity to survive. And I do think that there is going to be an opportunity for that their spiritual team wants them to know that while you may have had to use your creativity to survive, that now there will be an opportunity to use your creativity to like thrive, like to survive, to live. But not so much out of survival, um, which is why they brought up the root chakra earlier in the spread. Something about this person, whoever this reading is for, stability, sense of self has been affected because of this kind of negligence that they've experienced, or this absence that they've experienced in their life. But once that gets addressed and healed, that they will have kind of like this new capability or this new ability. It's kind of like once you heal that, your energy that was being used to help you survive with that trauma, that emotional trauma and neglect, now that energy would be able to be used for a new circuit, for more effective things in your life. And I do see that whoever this reading is for, they do have a very powerful and spiritual gift of is definitely giving fire energy and air energy. So creativity and communication through creativity, or creativity through your communication. What is this? I'm just getting this person can make things happen. They can maintain their inspiration regardless of what's going on. Like this, whoever this reading is for, you don't just leave with anything. You always come back with something. You are a fighter. You have ambition. You have built a level of tolerance for being able to overcome hard obstacles. So I'm also getting this energy of like someone, this person, whoever this message is for, they have emotional authority, and that may need to still be worked on, but they have the capability of developing it further. But basically, I was getting that energy of someone getting bad news before an interview, or someone getting discouraging news about something else that's going on in their life before something important that they have to do, and they're still able to not to allow that to affect the task at hand. They don't allow that to discourage them from what they are doing. Like they still walk forward. And I'm also getting this energy of someone being able to walk through the fire. So spiritual team is coming through very clearly to acknowledge for whoever this reading is for, that they do see and notice and acknowledge that you have been through so much. You have walked through so much, and that these this basically skill that you have developed through resiliency can be channeled if we're able to address the root chakra and kind of heal the traumas that were the cause of strengthening these abilities. Once we heal that and clear the trauma, then that energy can be kind of repurposed or rechanneled in a more positive and effective way. And I'm saying that when that is able to be done, that is going to propel you forward in a new way. So I'm getting like someone having like turbo type of, like, you know, like when they have fire, like I forgot if it's some kind of vehicle, like when it has like fire coming out the pipes or something like that. It's giving that energy. It's very interesting. So on the far right of the spread, we have the Three of Coins coming out in reverse. And it's bringing up again something about like this, whoever this reading's for, you wanted to collaborate with your father, authority figure, guardian, or masculine energy, but they just seem like disinterested in working with you or working together or collaborating or having a conversation or taking interest in your interest, doing activities with you. Underneath that, we have the grandchildren, which is the star card in the choice point position. So healing is available for whoever this reading is for, but you may have developed some level of apathy regarding your situation as well. So something about witnessing this authority figure or masculine and how detached they were, how disinterested they were, how negligent they were. Even though you hate that and that experience that you have kind of like internalized and taken on some of their characteristics, which is disinterest and apathy. So there may be a part of you about your a part of your soul, your psyche, your an aspect of yourself that has been traumatized, injured so badly to the fact that it's like an aspect of you is dead or it's very numb. And it's kind of like you convinced yourself that, you know, sometimes when we experience things and we have to learn how to navigate that, which means that we're in survival mode, we also convince ourselves that we don't want whatever that is or we don't need it. Because when at the time that we experienced that trauma, we didn't have any other choice but to accept that and learn how to survive and navigate through that situation. And spiritual team is coming through very clearly to say like we're hoping that by acknowledging what you have been through and what you have survived, that you understand that you're going to be presented a choice point. Healing is available, and you can kind of like rewire your circuits as far as how your energy is distributed by releasing and healing some of this trauma that you have been experienced, and that's going to um, energetically ignite you to propel forward in your life, and it's going to affect you creatively. And it's also going to strengthen your sense of security, your sense of self that is in your root chakra. But because the star card is coming out in the choice point position, that's why I'm saying again that, sometimes if we have issues with our guardians or our parents, sometimes we can want to differentiate ourselves or separate ourselves from those people so badly. Like, I'm nothing like that person, that we actually do become like that person just because of how we choose to survive or how we have to survive. But our spiritual team is coming through to say like we don't have that doesn't have to continue to be the identity that we move forward with and in, and things can change. A turning point is available, but we have to acknowledge that. And spiritual team is saying that this is being presented in the choice point, so that means that we have to take action if that is something that we would like to change. So going back to like someone feeling like, okay, well, like that's a whole big part of my life that I just didn't get to experience. I didn't get to have a father figure. I didn't never have somebody, read me a bedtime story or come to my game or give me advice or sit on the porch and have a conversation with me, or, that type of energy. And it's kind of like, dang, this person finally got to the point where they just kind of like accepted that. And that something about that acceptance kind of turns into something else that spiritual team is viewing as like not necessarily like, don't think that because you didn't experience that in your life that there aren't other aspects of having a guardian, a masculine energy, or a person of authority that you can actually trust, that you can have some kind of fatherly figure. Like everyone needs to know that someone that is more experienced than them cares about them and shows interest in them. So your spiritual team is basically saying like don't give up completely on the fact that that doesn't have to be just something that never happened and you'll never experience in your life. This is just a very general example, but perhaps you may meet someone, later on in your life that could be that, or you could just heal. So spiritual team is like don't give up on that concept of you receiving nurturance and acknowledgement and attention from someone, older that could be there for you. Underneath that, we have the Five of Coins, and that is in the resistant position, and I'm hearing nostalgia. There's a reference to someone, a masculine, growing up in their childhood and just kind of feeling a little bit misplaced, or kind of feeling like family members, your community, whoever was around you kind of dropped the ball. Like there was nothing set in place for you. Like this person feels like this family or community, like they were brought into this community and nobody set up a program for them. It's kind of like these family members or friends or environment, they didn't know what to do with them. They just felt displaced, like they didn't have the resources or the training to accommodate them. So this person is feeling very malnourished in regards to their childhood and how they were brought up, how they were raised, how their experience was. So it's kind of like this energy of like um, a masculine growing up as a child and everybody being like, find something to do, or like go do something else. Like it's kind of like they didn't want to be bothered, like maybe they had something else going on, but they told you to find something to do instead of creating something for you to do. And also not assisting in maybe helping you find friends or a community, or find activities for you, or maybe just like buy you toys so you can have a way to entertain yourself, things like that. So it's just kind of like this person literally just had to find something to do to busy themselves. And I'm hearing the word regret. Underneath that, we have the Queen of Swords, also in the resistant position. And I'm hearing the word neglect. This person may have felt neglected from their mother figure as well. It's kind of like I'm also getting like I can't really fault her for it because, she did maybe house you or take care of you, but at the same time she was also occupied with other things as well. So it just boils down to like there's this feeling of the ball being dropped. Underneath this Two of Swords and the Six of Coins, where we talked about This spiritual gift, whoever this reading is for, of being resourceful has, and how it can be further developed and empowered and made stronger by paying more attention to your sense of security, your root chakra, being grounded, anger management, emotion management of your emotions, all of that. Underneath that, we have the Seven of Wands in reverse, and we have the Death card. So transformation is needed. I feel like this person needs to just like how they alchemize everything with put everything in a pot and it melts. Something about that, but with all of your emotions, all of who you are, your personal identity. Something needs to be purified, something needs to be cleansed about your entire experience, your identity, your root chakra, your sense of self. Something definitely needs to be boiled down because there are so many different aspects of your life that this one very complex and very significant life challenge is affecting. So this one life challenge is affecting so many different aspects of this person's life. And of course it is. Mother and father and the relationship with them is going to play a huge part in this person's identity and how they navigate through life and what they view as survival. And I'm wondering, what does that mean? This transformation, this alchemizing? What does that look like for this person? We mentioned earlier in the reading that something about not having a fatherly masculine figure, to confide in and to pour into them. Has affected their level of confidence moving forward and their sense of authority. If they need to set boundaries, are they able to? Do they feel confident in communicating what's important to them, where they stand? So that is needing some development. Whoever this reading is for, whatever your concept of confidence, courage, being brave or being bold, standing up for yourself may be a little bit skewed, distorted and imbalanced. So, for example, someone that feels like they need to be a bully or they need to, be very loud or they need to, be overly confrontational or something like that in order to um, communicate their boundaries or something. That's not necessarily what I'm getting for whoever this reading is for, but it's giving that type of energy. There is some kind of imbalance in regards to how this person kind of exercises their authority because of this trauma. And spiritual team is saying we want you to be confident, but it to be like an authentic type of confidence, a very grounded, a solid foundation type of authority, not a house of cards type of authority or a what's it called, false sense of authority, false sense of being bold or being brave, a false sense of I don't know, something about that needs to be kept in mind. Angels, guides, ancestors, God, source, and benevolent energies that stand in truth and love. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the guidance. Thank you for the protection. Please continue to guide and protect us as we walk our path. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Is there anything else that we need to know regarding this message? What do we need to be aware of? What do we need to keep in mind? I am getting this energy of like this person, it's either you may be like overly confrontational or combative, and then another group may be like very like avoidant of confrontation to the point where they're not speaking up for themselves. Regardless, that is tied to that lack of nurturance within this guardian, fatherly, masculine energy. Okay, directly underneath the Hermit card, where we were talking about whoever this reading is for, they had to spend a lot of time alone. They had to busy themselves. They had to find something to do with their time. And they didn't have much encouragement or assistance regarding, finding healthy outlets for them to exercise or express their energy or just, positive things to get into. Directly underneath that, we have the Ace of Knives in reverse. And your spiritual team wants you to know that although it was very painful, or may have been very painful to have to spend all of that time alone during your childhood, that is going to be one of your main sources of strength. And spiritual team saying that it was a gift as well, although you may not have experienced it that way or perceive it that way, which is understandable. Spiritual team is saying like that has contributed to making you mentally strong, mentally and emotionally strong. The fact that you've spent so much time alone, the fact that you figured things out on your own. And I'm also getting something about that contributing to once you activate this spiritual fire energy that we talked about earlier, where you're very inspirational, and something about your ability to be inspired and use your inspiration and your communication together to get you from one stage of your life to the next. They're like two separate circuits that are going to assist each other. Your mental resiliency along with rewiring how your energy is used. So again, your spiritual team is saying that any trauma that you've experienced related to this topic, it's very important to kind of not be so closed off to thinking like being numb to the situation, being like that's something that happened, life isn't fair, and I'm just gonna move forward. Spiritual teams like something can be salvaged from this experience. It's just something about they don't want you to just, I guess, chalk it up. Towards the bottom right of the spread, we have the The Queen of Wands in the choice point position. This is definitely your energy. The Queen of Wands, she is confident, she is direct, she is potent. Her energy is potent. She's the type of person that, like, you, if she doesn't like you, you'll be able to tell. She doesn't really sugarcoat things. She doesn't have to be vile or nasty either, but there's a level of confidence in what she requires, what she expects, and she is also someone that can deliver as well. She's also very creative, but she's very selective about who she wants to work with, who she wants to collaborate with. Um, so she's not going to just waste time with anyone, and she's a doer, not just a talker as well, but she is very open to communication. So that is being presented in the choice point position, which makes me feel like whoever this reading is for, like I said, some people, their sense of security is imbalanced, so they may be overbearing or overly confrontational or aggressive, or something about their emotions are not regulated because they are not acknowledging their emotions and the need to heal that trauma or the things that they didn't get as a child as a whole. Or they may just lack confidence in communicating what they needed in the first place. So I'm also getting what this could look like for some people. Maybe like just, it's like they didn't get something that they need, but they're not articulating or communicating or admitting that they needed that. It's kind of just like, I didn't get that, and I'm just going to move on with my life. So spiritual team is just like, acknowledge and voice your needs. Like, I needed a dad that was going to pay attention to me. I needed someone to play with me. I needed someone to take interest in me. I needed someone to that would hold me when I hurt myself, like that type of energy. So it may be very cringe, or it may feel like out of pocket or unnecessary. You may be inclined to just be like, well, like, that's life, like, life isn't fair type of energy, and then just kind of like this person is just discarding it. But as we know, like, when we throw something in the trash, it's still there and it's still in the trash. It's still on that device. So we also have to go to the actual trash. We have to go to the bin, and we have to alchemize that, or we have to address that or dispose of it completely. And that's what our spiritual team is bringing up with this 10 of Wands in reverse. There is some level of burden that whoever this reading is for is carrying. Um, okay. So underneath this Queen of Wands, we have the Hangman, which also came out in the choice point position. And these cards are coming out on top of the Death card. So the thing is, like I said, it definitely does feel like this aspect of this person is so hurt that it has become numb. Like, that part of them is very numb, desynthesized, dull, but it's still a part of your body. It's like having a leg that, like, you can't feel it, like it has nerve damage or something. And spiritual team is basically saying, like, it's time to go to rehab. It's time to to start, you know, whether you decide to get assistance or if you decide to do it yourself, like you're gonna have to start moving your toes. You're gonna have to start moving your ankles, rotating your ankles, and you're gonna have to start refamiliarizing your leg with some kind of sensation. So that is to say, if you guys have seen where people help animals or even just humans with rehab, people that can't walk, or, you know, they may have been given a stat or told that they would never walk or whatever. And the main message that's coming through is your spiritual team is saying, like, that aspect of your life, that experience of your life is not dead. You might be 45 years old or, older, younger, and you might think, like, that's dead and gone. Like, I have never had my father, or I never had that experience. And this is the cards that I've been dealt in my life. And it's kind of like you're chalking it up to, I don't know, just something about the situation your spiritual team is saying, like, it's not dead. So it's kind of like somebody having that issue with their leg, and they can either accept that they'll never walk again, or they can try to, go go to rehabilitation, or try to, spiritual team is saying, like, try to walk, try to get movement, build that muscle memory back in your leg, because it's possible. What we are perceiving as dead and gone or irreconcilable, even if it's just for ourselves, is not necessarily so. And so with the hangman coming out in the choice point position, that's what spiritual team is coming through very clearly to say, like, you think that, the story ends there, but it doesn't have to be. And we're coming through with this message to inform you that hopefully you realize that if you do decide to leave this unhealed, just know that that is a choice that you're making, because it doesn't have to be that way. Directly underneath the hangman, we have the 9 of baskets, and that is coming out in the resistant position. So yeah, there are just many abundant experiences that are meant to be had for whoever this reading is for, and their ability to experience these things are directly tied to their ability to acknowledge that they didn't get what they needed, and that it was important to them then and it's still important to them now. That there is an imbalance in their sense of security, their identity, the foundation of who they are and how they decide to navigate life. And that bleeds into their spiritual gifts, their sense of creativity, their communication, and their creativity literally propels them forward. It's responsible. So also I'm seeing like this little ship, or like something submerged underwater, like something submerged underwater that propels them forward. And it's kind of like you're being propelled forward on 35%, but something about when you heal these other aspects of your life, it frees up that energy so that you can propel faster than 35% significantly. And there's like a whole bunch of like energy of creativity and productivity and communication. Like I said, whoever this reading is for, spiritual team came through to acknowledge that they've witnessed you go through some very challenging things and you still held it together. and they love that about you, and they're saying that there is an opportunity to experience an era where you can just be creative and communicate and propel yourself forward and not just do it out of survival, to do it for recreational and productivity purposes. And I'm hearing life sustaining. So, something about those spiritual gifts that you have that are needing to be further discovered and developed is very powerful. Very powerful. Is there anything else that we need to know regarding this message? In closing, is there anything else is there anything else that we need to know in closing? Top of the deck undercurrent energy is the Two of Wands in reverse. We also have the Ten of Knives, Ten of Swords upright. Yeah, whoever this reading is for, you kind of like wrote this whole situation, this whole experience off. It's not necessarily bad, of course, because I just get somebody is like they got to the point where they accepted it. They've accepted that they just didn't have that fatherly experience in their life, and they've moved on, they've survived, they become very sufficient, because they've spent time by themselves, but there is this like burden, this chip on the shoulder, and it does just kind of affect how they navigate through life, and spiritual team is wanting you to just be lighter. That's the overall message. Yeah. And then I'm also hearing commercial vehicle. So for me as reader, that means someone having the ability and possibly being presented the opportunity to move from one stage of their life to the next. But we have the Two of Cups coming out. So as mentioned earlier, spiritual team is like, don't give up on the idea altogether. There may be an opportunity for you to experience a more healthy, loving relationship in the future. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that reading. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you'd like to contribute to my readings, you can do so by visiting my website, which will be in the comment section below. You can also learn about my readings there and book a private reading with me. If you'd like to contribute to my readings, you can also visit my Amazon wishlist store or my Etsy wishlist store. But other than that, I want to thank my angels, guides, ancestors, God source, and benevolent energies that stand in truth and love. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the guidance. Thank you for the protection. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye.